Did you know there are 8 on-site hotels at the Universal Orlando Resort? And yes, there's one that's perfect for you. If you're thinking about visiting Universal, one of the first things you have to do is figure out where you're gonna stay. But before you can do that, you gotta know what your options are. So in today's video, we're gonna give you an overview of all of the on-site hotels here at Universal and talk about when we think it makes sense to stay there. Plus, at the end, we're gonna give you some of our favorite ways to save money when booking your room. We're huge fans of staying on site at Universal. So before we moved to Orlando, we used to travel down to the parks all the time. And at first, we were really skeptical if staying on site was worth it. So we tried staying at one of the dozen hotels within a mile of the parks, and we said never again. Sure, you can find a hotel that's a little bit cheaper than anything on site, but for us, the benefits and convenience that comes with staying here at the resort is worth the minimal price difference. The hotels at Universal are broken down into 4 different tiers ranging from value to premier. As you move up the tiers, the hotels get nicer, aka more expensive, but they also come with more benefits. First on the list are the value hotels, which is going to be Endless Summer Dockside, which I'm standing right in front of, and then across the street we have Endless Summer Surfside. These are the most affordable hotels on property, with standard rooms starting at $99 per night, and they also offer 2-bedroom suites that sleep up to 6 people starting at $149 a night. Even though these are the cheapest hotels on property, that doesn't mean they're lacking in accommodations. Both of these hotels have really great pools, they have fitness centers, a game room, 24/7 pizza delivery, and more. But there are 2 amenities in particular that we love, and shocker, they both have to do with food. The first one is Starbucks. Now, all of the hotels on property do have a Starbucks, but some of them are a limited menu where you can only get like your basic drinks. This one is a full, entire Starbucks store. Anything they have on the menu, you can order it here. And the other thing we love is the diner. Now, most of the time when I see like cafeteria style food, I think back to school and immediately assume that the food isn't gonna be very good, but that is not the case here. Everything we've had is amazing, especially the barbecue burger. We have literally come over here on a night where like we're not staying at the hotel, we're not going to the parks, just to get that burger for dinner. It is that good. Plus, they have all kinds of different options, so it's perfect for families where everybody can get whatever they feel like eating and then still eat together.
You may be wondering to yourself, well, then what is the difference between the hotels? And that's the thing, there's really not that much of a difference. Dockside is quite a bit bigger, so they have 2 pools, while over here at Surfside there's only 1. But outside of size and capacity, there's not much of a difference. We get asked quite a bit like, oh, we're gonna stay at one of the value hotels. Which one should we stay at? It's a toss-up. It doesn't really matter. If you like blue, Surfside tends to have more blue in the hotel and Dockside has more orange. But the thing to keep in mind is when you're staying at this level of hotel, there are a lot of great benefits that come with it.
The biggest benefits with staying at the value hotels is early park admission and transportation. So early park admission is technically early park admission to the Wizarding World of Harry Potter, which means that you get access to one or both of the parks an hour before they open to daytime guests. Now, an hour might not sound like a lot of time, but you can get so much done during EPA. We actually just did a video on this, so after you finish this video, you should go check out that one. This is especially important if you don't have express passes. It can save you so much time. Now, transportation. At these 2 hotels, the only transportation option is buses, and they run about every 15 minutes or so. The really big benefit of staying here versus an off-site hotel that might also have buses is that the timing of the buses always lines up perfectly with park hours, so you're never gonna get stranded and be forced to take an Uber. There are a couple other benefits here as well, like room key charging privileges throughout the entire resort, and also merch delivery to your room. There are a couple scenarios where you think it makes sense to stay at the value hotels. The first one is if you are visiting on a budget. Now, whether you're just trying to spend as little money as possible, or if you're somebody who just sees a hotel room as a bed to sleep in and prefers to spend money on other parts of your vacation, these 2 hotels are perfect for that. And the other scenario is if you're visiting with a large family. So like we said, both of these hotels offer those 2-bedroom family suites at an affordable price, so you can come and have enough room for the entire family without breaking the bank. But now we're gonna go visit the prime value hotels. The Prime Value hotels consist of Cabana Bay and Adventura, although we will be adding to that very shortly. Universal has announced that the Stella Nova and Terra Luna resorts, which are part of Epic Universe, will be in the same tier of hotels. And they've already started taking reservations for January 2025, so they'll be here before we know it. But standard rooms at these hotels start at $145 per night, with family suites starting at $186.
We're sitting upstairs in the lobby of Cabana Bay, which is just like a crowd favorite here at Universal, especially for families. And I think it's because of all of the amenities that this hotel actually offers. So there's a lazy river, there's 2 pools, there's like a cafe area that actually has some really good food. There's a bowling alley and a milkshake shop. A milkshake sounds really good right about now. And plus the 50s and 60s like retro vibe that is here. We are here for it. We absolutely love it. When families ask us about where they should stay, especially if they have a lot of little kids, we typically push them to Cabana Bay just because of everything the hotel has to offer. And because if I was a kid, this is where I would want to be.
Now over here at Aventura, in a lot of ways, it's kind of the exact opposite of Cabana Bay. Now that's not to say that it's not family friendly or highly themed, although the theme is kind of a lack of a theme or like a minimalist theme. It feels kind of corporate in a lot of ways. Like this is the only hotel on property that doesn't really feel like you're at a theme park. And that's not necessarily a bad thing. Like if that's what you're looking for, this place is perfect for you. But our favorite part about this hotel is Bar 17. So this is a bar on the rooftop of Aventura. It's called Bar 17 because it's on the 17th floor. It has really good food, really good drinks, but the best part is the views. At night, you can even see fireworks from all the different theme parks. So Universal, SeaWorld, and even Disney. I'm gonna need you to tell them what you just said.
About the haircut? I said that if Aventura was a haircut, it would be a mullet because it's business in the front and party in the back being Bar 17. It works, it's just like the back is the top in this analogy. As far as benefits go, they are cumulative. So everything you got at the value level of hotels, you also get here plus a couple of additional ones. And one of the additional ones is a designated walking path. It's a little bit of a walk from here. I think it's like 15 to 20 minutes, a little bit over a mile, but you do have that option instead of just having the bus transport. And it's at this tier of hotel that you get pool hopping. So basically what you can do is you can go to any of the other hotels on property, show them your room key card, and they'll give you like an amenities card, which will give you access to all the pools at all the other hotels.
Now, in terms of who these hotels are for, we've already touched on this a little bit, but Cabana Bay is for families. Everything there is fun. So your entire family is going to have a wonderful time at that hotel. That hotel is also where we would stay anytime we were trying to save a little bit of money on the hotel room because it is still on the budget side. But like we said, it's fun and you're going to enjoy it. Aventura is for people who want to leave the theming to the theme parks. Now it is still on the budget side as well. It's the same price as Cabana Bay. So it's going to be a little bit cheaper, but it's just kind of a more calm experience. When you walk in, it's quieter. There's not crazy colors or a bunch of things going on. It's a place to relax after a long day at the parks. The next tier is the preferred tier, and the only hotel in this one is the one right behind me, Sapphire Falls. Like I just said, it's in a tier all of its own and for good reason. This is one of our favorites here at Universal. They have standard rooms starting at $212 a night. They also have suites, but they're not exactly the same as the 2-bedroom or the family suites that we've talked about with some of the other hotels, and the rates for these vary. I'm gonna be honest, I feel like Universal shafted Sapphire Falls a little bit. Now let me explain. I don't really mean that, but Sapphire Falls is equally as nice as all of the premier hotels, which are the 3 that we're headed to after this. The only difference between Sapphire Falls and those hotels is that this one doesn't come with express for your stay. It is just as nice. Like the rooms are super nice, the pool is amazing, the spa, the restaurants, the bars, like the beds and the pillows. We love checking out like pillows and beds when we stay at hotels. They are super comfy here. So the only thing that puts this in a different category than the premier hotels is it doesn't come with that express pass.
Like Anna just so eloquently said, we really enjoy this hotel, but I think one of our favorite things about it are the restaurants. So downstairs you have the Ametista Cookhouse, which is buffet style. There's a few of those at different hotels, but they serve breakfast and dinner, and it's just a good place to go grab a bite to eat, especially if you're really hungry. But maybe our favorite restaurant at the Onsite hotels is right behind me, and that is Strong Water Tavern. It's wonderful. We have never had a meal there that we didn't enjoy. If you're staying anywhere on property, this is one of those places that we would suggest you make your way over to Sapphire Falls and try to get a reservation over there to grab a bite to eat, because it is worth it. Even their little like cafe, I think it's called like the New Dutch Trading Company, they have these giant pretzels that are awesome. Like the other day, we stayed here about a week ago. Anna got a caprese sandwich and I got a giant, and I mean giant, pizza pretzel. If you put one of those things in front of me right now, I would eat that thing up. They were so good.
There is one additional benefit you get when staying at Sapphire Falls, and it's a big one, and that is the water taxi. So that's that boat right behind me. So it's a taxi that's on water, and it takes you into City Walk. The reason this is so great is because it saves you both steps and time. So it saves you steps versus walking to the parks, and it saves you time versus taking a bus, because the buses drop you off at the main like City Walk security hub, which can sometimes get really backed up. And you also have to walk from the security hub like all the way into City Walk, so it saves you steps that way too. We have paid extra money to stay at Sapphire Falls just for the water taxi. Like, they're fun, the boat captains are enjoyable, they play music, it's like a nice little boat ride. It's worth it, it's wonderful.
We cannot understate like how many times that the water taxi has saved our feet. Like at the end of it, especially like a longer trip. So say you're here for 4, 5, 6 days. Day 5, you're done. Like, you're done. If that water taxi isn't there, you're just waiting for the next water taxi. Like, we have been there where it's like, I'm doing anything but walking. Like, I am going to wait for everything if it means I don't have to stand on my aching feet.
Okay. In my opinion, there are a specific set of circumstances that make this the perfect hotel for you. And that's if you are somebody that wants an elevated hotel experience, but you're not as concerned with riding rides. My mom and brother both embody this so well. So my brother, he doesn't really like rides, especially coasters. The only things that he's gonna ride here at Universal are attractions that don't typically have a high wait time. And my mom isn't really gonna ride much at all, but they both enjoy a nice hotel. They want the nice pool. My mom cares about the spa. My brother likes the nicer bars and restaurants. So Sapphire Falls is a great choice for them because it's as nice as the Premier hotels, but you don't have to pay that premium for the express pass that comes with your stay. Last but certainly not least, we have the Premier hotels, and there are 3 of these. So right behind me is Portofino Bay. There's also Lowe's Royal Pacific Resort and the Hard Rock. These are the nicest and most expensive hotels on property, with standard rooms starting at $328 per night. These are also the only hotels here at Universal that offer club level rooms, and those rooms start at $444 per night. My Type A brain loves that number.
Portofino Bay is the fancy hotel here at Universal, at least in our minds, and that could be because when we called for wedding venues, it was like 5 times more expensive, or it could just be the vibe that this hotel gives off. So Portofino Bay is actually a fishing village that really exists in Italy, and if you look at pictures, I don't want to say it's a replica, but when you look at pictures, there's a lot of similarities. Like, it looks really close to that. The rooms here, they're huge, and then the bathrooms inside of the rooms. If Will Ferrell was staying here, he would talk about how ginormous the toilets are. And something else to keep in mind is there are some renovations going on right now at Portofino. So the rooms are discounted just a little bit. Those renovations are set to end in June of 2025. I don't know if we'll have another hotels video out by then, but if not, this information is right here.
Royal Pacific is actually the most affordable Premier hotel. So the starting prices that I mentioned are for here, and then the other 2 Premier hotels start at about $20 to $30 more per night. So anytime that we travel down to the parks and wanted express passes, this is typically where we stayed, because that $20 to $30 adds up pretty quickly. But that's not to say that this isn't a wonderful hotel. It has a really nice like Pacific Island vibe. It's tranquil. Every time we walk into the lobby, it's so quiet and serene. Like, I feel bad talking, and yet here I am like screaming at the camera. The vibes are great, but the amenities here are even better. Like, they have everything that you could ever ask for and more, except for one small thing, and that's Starbucks. This is one of those hotels that has a limited menu Starbucks, so they do offer things like regular coffee. They even have some frappuccinos and a few refreshers on their menu, but you can't get everything.
And now for the Hard Rock. This is our favorite hotel on property. I mean, there's a few reasons. One, we got married here, so of course we're going to be a little bit partial. But the big one is how close it is to the park. So its proximity to the parks. It is literally like a 4 or 5 minute walk from the parks. And after a long night in the parks, that is just the best thing in the world. So if you're here for special after hours events like Halloween Horror Nights or the Orlando Informer meetup, or let's just say you're at Mardi Gras and you dance and party and parade all night long, the convenience of having a hotel that is just a few steps away from the parks, it's amazing. Like, there have been many times that we have had like a second life just realizing that we're staying at the Hard Rock, because we can just keep going and not have to worry about the long commute or walk back to our hotel. The Hard Rock is actually modeled after a rock star's mansion. That's supposed to be the theme here. There's rock memorabilia everywhere and music. Like, you just can't get away from the music. If you swim in the pool and you go underwater, you can still hear the music, and the nightlife here is the best. Like, this is probably the best nightlife at any of the hotels. We love the Velvet Lounge. There's live music, there's good drinks, good food. It's the best. I mean, this place just has a chill vibe. You can get a guitar and play it in your room. Like, you can rent a Fender guitar and play it in your room. I think you have to have headphones on because you've got neighbors, but you can do that if you want.
As far as benefits go, the biggest one is here at the Premier Hotels, which explains why they're so expensive. And we've kind of alluded to it a little bit, and that's that these hotels come with an unlimited express pass for everyone staying in your room. And this express pass is good for the duration of your stay, and that does include the days that you check in and check out. So how that works is that your express pass is going to be your room key. And the day you check in, you can go to the lobby of the hotel and go through the check-in process starting at 7 a.m. Now, your room isn't going to be ready then, okay? Check-in is officially at 4, so your room will be ready by 4 at the latest. But once you get that room key, which is your express pass, you can then go to the parks and use it for the entire day. And then on the day that you check out, you also have express all day that day. So you can just store your luggage in the lobby. They'll hold it, take care of that all day long, and you can use that express in the parks until they close. So as far as who these hotels make sense for, there are kind of two different people or groups of people that come to mind. And the first one is people that just want that bougie hotel experience. Like, if you're gonna enjoy and take advantage of all the extra amenities, these are perfect for you. And the second group is people like us who love the parks and want to enjoy those express passes, especially if you have 2 or more people in your room. Staying at a Premier hotel where you get the express pass with your stay is almost always going to be cheaper than staying at the cheapest hotel possible and buying express outright. So go ahead, come over here, get express pass for everybody in your room, and have an amazing time at the parks. So now for those money saving tips. Once you've figured out what hotel you want to stay at, you then want to try to book it as cheap as possible. And usually the best way to do that is to book it as far in advance as you possibly can. So even if you're not 100% sure of your dates, the great thing about Universal is that if you just book the room by itself, it's completely refundable up until 5 or 6 days before your trip. And all you have to do is put 1 night stay down as a deposit to keep that booking. So book it as soon as possible. Then if you need to change your dates or something like that, you can always do that later on down the road. But after you book it, that's typically going to be the cheapest price, but not always. Every once in a while, that rate will drop just kind of randomly. Sometimes it's 2 or 3 weeks ahead of time. Sometimes it's a month out, 2 months out, who knows? So after you book it initially, you want to check back at least every week and see if that rate has dropped. And if it has, you can just call and rebook at that lower rate. The second way to save some money is to see if there are any discounts that you might qualify for. So some of the obvious ones are going to be like an annual pass holder rate or a Florida resident rate. You're probably aware if that's something that you qualify for. But there are also some length of stay discounts. So sometimes if you add an extra night to your stay, it's actually like the same price or cheaper by night. And then there's some other things like military discounts or specials that they might be running on Universal's website that could save you a ton of money. And the third tip is to hotel hop. Now this specifically applies to if you're wanting to stay at one of the premier hotels that include Express. So let's say you're coming down for like a 3-night stay. But the first night you're just traveling down and then sleeping in your hotel room. You're not going to the parks or anything like that. There's no point in paying like $300 or more for a room that you're just gonna sleep in and you're not gonna use Express that day. So what you can do is stay at a cheap hotel that night, then in the morning move to a premier hotel. You check in that day, you get your Express pass for the day that you check in, and then you can stay the rest of the time at the premier hotel and have that Express pass, but save a bunch of money that first night.
Okay, the camera is up a little too high, but that's okay. Going around to all the hotel rooms, it makes us just want to come over here and stay for like a little staycation because we haven't done that in a while, but we'll do it soon. If you guys want to check out like our individual hotel reviews, we've got some new ones coming and we've got a playlist right up here. So check all those out. They should help you out and give you anything that you need in more detail. But thanks for hanging out, guys. We're going to go enjoy the parks for a little bit. Bye.
Bye.